Stafford had its beginning when four pioneers staked out homesteads. The corners of the four homesteads met at what is now Main and Broadway. These homesteaders decided to form a town. They each gave 10 acres, with E.B. Crawford's branching out from the southwest corner of Main and Broadway, Jess Moreland's from the northwest corner, Jess Vickers from the northeast corner, and S.R. Estell's from the southwest corner. They used a wagon wheel as a surveying device, measuring the wheel, tying a handkerchief on it, rolling it along to measure town lots. Since wood was scarce, they used the teeth of an old harrow for stakes to mark the lots. Stafford was incorporated September 10, 1885, and named in honor of Captain Lewis Stafford, a Civil War soldier. We invite you to follow in the historic footsteps of these hardy pioneers, whose vision, faith, and industrious fortitude brought this town to life and whose spirit lives on in the people of Stafford. Henry and John McCurdy owned the lumber yard in the 200 block of South Main. Henry McCurdy built his home at 121 West Crawford and established the First State Bank of Stafford. The lumber yard is now the Stafford Lumber Company. Gary and Shirley Baker own and occupy the stately home. The Stafford Senior Center occupies the former Brinkman Hotel building, which opened February 22, 1906. During the oil boom of the 1920s, the hotel was a center of activity when company executives, geologists, tool pushers, and drilling crews stayed there. Since the closing of the hotel in 1958, the building has been used as a nursing home, retail business, and by the Recreation Commission. It was turned over to the senior citizens in 1994 and is used for community events and family gatherings. The Ritz Theater is open, showing movies every other weekend. It was renovated and reopened in 2000 after being closed more than 40 years. Community volunteers refurnished the interior and a new sound system was installed. Main Street volunteers repainted the facade in 2006. Curtis Cafe has been a fixture on Main Street since 1948, when Mr. and Mrs. E.E., Ernie, and Mary Marie Curtis bought the cafe. Ruth Curtis Wiltshire became the owner of her grandparents' cafe in 1982 upon the retirement of her parents, Jack and Musetta Curtis. Jigsaw puzzles assembled by the Curtis family and restaurant patrons line the walls from floor to ceiling. The Stafford County Museum at 100 South Main was the Farmers National Bank. From the time it was built in 1905 until 1978, when the bank moved to a new building at 200 South Main Street. In 1980, the building was sold to the Stafford County Historical and Genealogical Society and placed on the National Historic Registry in 2006. The northeast corner of Main and Broadway has held a prominent position in the history of Stafford, beginning with the sod home and hotel built by Jess Vickers. The Grand Central Hotel burned to the ground in an early day fire. Robinson's Home Appliance occupied the building from 1938 through 1975. The office and library of the Stafford County Historical and Genealogical Society has occupied the building since 2003. On August 10, 1885, the Vickers broke ground for a livery barn, large enough to house 120 horses. The Vickers livery stable site has been vacant since the old barn was torn down in 1994. In 1910, Colonel August Whitey, Civil War veteran and Stafford County pioneer, organized the Stafford Opera Company. This company erected an opera house and named it the Whitey in his honor. The Whitey seated about 550 and was used for public performances. It has been the home of the Stafford Courier since 1928. The Duck Walls Variety Store opened in November 1995 in the Gold Brick Building, which formerly housed grocery stores Safeway and Dave's IGA. About 1900, a store known as the Fair and later Brown Brothers Mercantile held the location on the northwest corner of Main and Broadway. Built in 1886, the lower level of this building was one of the few buildings to survive the early fires that plagued downtown Stafford. In 1905, the second story was added, giving the building its Main Street look that it has today. The Main Street entrance opened to the old Peacock and Soy's furniture business, and now it is the home of Stafford Entrepreneurship and Economic Development Charter School, developed by the Stafford School District. The Nora E. Larrabee Memorial Library at 108 North Union is a memorial to the only daughter of Joseph D. and Angelina Larrabee, prominent early-day citizens of Stafford. It is built of red brick, has beautiful beveled glass windows, gargoyle rainspouts, 20-foot ornate tin ceilings, and a gorgeous stained glass window featuring a portrait of Nora Larrabee. The library opened in 1907 and was placed on the National Historic Registry in 2006. The homestead of E.B. Crawford on the southwest corner of Main and Broadway became the first store to serve the community. It is now an extension of the Stafford County Museum. The Stafford Mall at 111 South Main, located where Spickard Novelty and Auntie's Dry Goods stores preceded the Auntie's and Harrison Clothing Company, as well as the former Kane Drug, Jim Sundry's, Family Apparel, and Elroy's too. The buildings are now connected on the inside. Next door south is Elroy's Pizza, established in 1985 by Leroy and Ollie Meyer in the location of the Blue Bottom Cafe of the 1940s. Paul's Grocery was established in 1987 at 309 South Main, formerly occupied by the C.O. Mammal Grocery Store from 1947 through 1987. Bert Smiley operated an early-day resale business on this site.